Well, good afternoon, everybody. We're back in sunny Southern California. We've had a little bit of rain on and off, but the sky is pretty much clear today, which means I'm all clear to talk to you about a very important and very special event coming up in just a couple of weeks, very, very near to where I am standing in Village Green Park in old downtown Garden Grove, California, about 12 minutes, maybe 10 minutes from Disneyland, and off in the other direction, maybe 15 minutes from the Orange Circle. Now, as you can see, the Village Green here is a very big public park with a bunch of different buildings inside of it. In fact, backing up against Garden Grove's historic First Baptist Church, which I believe was founded in the 1890s. Got a theater over there, courtyard center, and a little miniature theater. But what we're really here to see today is tucked into the very southwestern corner of Garden Grove's Village Green. There's a venue back here, an outdoor amphitheater called the Garden Amp. And this is where, on March 8th, 2026, we will be having the public celebration of life, the public memorial for our friend Adam the Woo, who just passed away back in December. Now, it is a public event, but there's a lot of confusion around this, so I've come out here today to clear some of that up, clear some of the backstory up, explain how we got here, and explain how you can be participating with us in the celebration of life for our friend Adam the Woo. First, let me tell you the details about this event, and then I'll tell you how we got here. The Garden Amp is a pretty decent sized outdoor amphitheater down here, mostly known for punk rock shows, so another thing close to Adam's heart. But obviously, as you can see, it's not a baseball stadium, it's not a football stadium. The capacity is somewhat limited. And so although the tickets were absolutely free, in fact, Garden Amp donated their time, we'll talk about that more later, they were somewhat limited for seating for the public to get into the physical location. However, having said that, right away, because this has caused some confusion, this was always meant to be live streamed. It will be live streamed on YouTube. I'm sure there will be multiple live streams, although we have gotten a hold of somebody who's professional at this, so it should look pretty good and sound pretty good. The live stream will obviously be absolutely free to watch anywhere in the world, and we'd love for all of Adam's friends and fans and family and extended acquaintances to be participating with us, watching the live stream. But you also notice that there is this huge public park out here, which I started with in the first place. It's another reason the Garden Amp was a good choice to host this event, because that way the people who do live around the area or can get here can gather here, if not inside, then outside in the public park. We're gonna attempt to have screens outside with what's going on inside being piped out here, in addition to the live stream, obviously, that everybody can watch. Many, if not most, of Adam's close friends and family will be here in attendance. We are going to have some movie cars outside, including the DeLorean that Adam got to drive at the Twin Pines Mall just a few months before he passed away, thanks to our friends BC DeLorean, who are also bringing another movie car that they are finishing as a tribute to Adam the Woo. Another movie vehicle I've never seen before that is from one of Adam's favorite movies, so quite a few surprises will be outside as well. And obviously, those of us that were Adam's friends, as we're making our way in and out of the venue, will be coming outside and saying hello to people and gathering and all that good stuff. There will be video tributes from Adam's close friends, including some who weren't able to make it in person to the event just for the sake of time, because Adam did have so many friends. There will only be a handful of people actually speaking in person, but some of them are very special guests indeed, including, if everything goes according to plan, members of Adam's family, particularly his father, who has a very special message for Adam's celebration of life that he would like to share with Adam's friends and fans. And so the main thing, the main thrust, obviously, is the live stream, because think about it for 2 seconds, because I know this has already caused a lot of consternation and confusion and a lot of questions to be thrown around. Adam the Woo, the YouTuber, was huge. You're talking about 750,000 subscribers just on the Daily Woo channel alone. You're talking about 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people who watched him every day. Just that amount of people alone would fill a huge football stadium. And don't get me wrong, we did look into baseball stadiums, football stadiums, everything else. There were some who offered us discounts and were very helpful, but we're talking about money to the tune of $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for the venue, for the staff, for the electricity, the security, the permits, etc., etc., etc. These things are a lot more complicated than they seem on the surface. There is no single place, and we did look, not just here, but in Florida as well, there is no single place where we could host it without spending tens of thousands of dollars. And if any money like that is going to be raised, it should be going towards his family, not towards, basically a big party that would be over and done forever. Having said that, right away from the beginning, when Adam passed away, everyone who was close to him, our first instinct is like, we have to do something. We have to have some sort of celebration, some sort of farewell, some sort of, public celebration of life, basically. Including his family, who were thinking the same thing. We'll have a big gathering, we'll have people get together, we'll do a live stream and stuff like that. But it dawned on them, and it dawned on me, and it dawned on everybody pretty quickly that where do you draw the line? Because it's not going to be 1,000 people, it's not going to be 5,000 people, it's not going to be 10,000 people, it's potentially tens and tens of thousands of people. And so in the first blow of grief, we all reached out to different places, independently, separately. We knew we wanted to have something on the West Coast. Ideally, there was going to be something on the East Coast. We started reaching out to places. I posted something right away. And right from the beginning, the Garden Amp here stepped up and volunteered, because the owners are fans of Adam's, volunteered not just the venue itself for free, but the staff. They obviously have the insurance, the permits, they have everything, the audio-visual guys, the technology, the equipment, and the space, including outside, to make something happen. And we didn't confirm with them right away, even for the West Coast thing, because we were thinking, just in terms of Adam's friends alone, you're talking about, just in terms of people he made videos with alone, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, right? So we were hoping to find the biggest place possible, but as it turns out, in terms of West Coast Memorial, which we had already started before I even left to Florida, just looking into and kind of poking around about, this was the only place that stepped up, that volunteered, that cared about Adam and his friends, his family, and his fans enough to donate their time, their services, and they have been really, really cool and patient, because they knew we were going to look around and try to see if we could find something bigger and better, and they kept the deal on the table and worked with us for literally months. And in the meantime, without speaking for Adam's family, I need you to understand something. When we got to Florida, it was a lot. After the first rush of grief, you actually have to deal with all the practical realities of your son, your brother, your friend being gone. What does that mean in terms of laws, in terms of probate, in terms of getting into accounts, getting death certificates, burying someone? What does a funeral cost? Funerals, even the cheapest of funerals, are going to cost you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 sometimes. How do you afford a headstone? How do you afford all this stuff when you can't get into the banks yet because you don't have death certificates? All this kind of stuff, etc., etc. Now, grief is a complicated thing. Not just for those of us who enjoyed Adam's videos, but of course, the people who knew Adam in real life, whether casually or were very close to him. But now imagine being somebody's sister, somebody's mother. And imagine after the first wave of grief, all the comments, the flood of the entire internet coming after you, making comments about every single decision that's made, floods of people coming to the house and leaving memorials. So a mix of good and bad things, but just an overload and overstimulation. And on top of that, you're moving through stages of grief. Grief is hitting you in different ways. The reality is becoming overwhelming itself. There was a very tiny viewing and burial ceremony for Adam because there had to be. Because not just a budget, but because of the family needing to grieve, their church family, their extended relatives. Only a very tiny few amount of Adam's friends could fit in there. But they'd always planned to expand on that by having a public celebration of life. But as time goes on and you go through the funeral and you go through the viewing and you go through burying your son, your brother, your best friend, and you go through contacting all the relatives, all the friends, all the crying, all the telling of stories over and over again, you're sort of forced, even in just those things, to relive it over and over and over and over. And I don't think anybody on the outside meant any harm by it. But it's just hard for people to realize who are in their living room, maybe 5 or 6 states away, going, where's the update? Where's the thing about Adam? I miss his videos. To wrap their heads around the fact that, his close family and friends are just reliving this nightmare over and over and grieving and dealing with waves of grief, not just their own grief, but also trying to comfort so many strangers, whether they were Adam's friends or casual viewers or people who were just devastated by this loss. Adam's family are the most wonderful people ever, and they really do care about all those people suffering from the loss of Adam, you know? And anyway, because Adam's family cares so much, not just about their son, their brother, their nephew, but all of his fans, the friends, the people suffering, they would very much feel like they would need to be involved in a celebration of life that's happening in their own backyard. They quickly realized they couldn't hold it at their church. They couldn't hold it in any other venues. We looked around a lot, and I tried my best to help as well. And so the decision was made to basically not make any decision about that for now. His poor mother, his poor family has had to relive this over and over again, accommodate so many people, try and care about everybody else besides themselves while they're dealing with their own grief. And they need time and space to heal, to find out what normal life is like every day without their son, without their brother, without their nephew. And so a decision was made that, like, look it, you don't owe anything to anybody. When you feel comfortable, it could be a year from now, it could be 10 years from now, it could be 2 months, and you feel like doing something, all of Adam's friends, all of us have your back, and we want to support you. And so that's why there has been no announcement that there's not going to be anything in Florida. For all practical intents and purposes right now, that's on hold, and for very, very good reasons. Reasons that some people are not going to agree with or understand, because obviously they're dealing with their own grief and they're not thinking about Adam's family and close friends in real life, right? And so now, obviously, if that was going to be the decision, I right away said, okay, if you'd like us to not have the thing we were going to have in California, we will absolutely put the kibosh on that too. We will cancel that. We will pause that. And Adam's family told me, no, we would very much like you guys to do that. I think it's 1 degree of separation. It's on another coast. They're able to participate. They're able to come out and meet and talk with his friends, see how much people loved him, but not feel like they have the burden of being in charge of something or having to host an event or come up with the whole thing. Does that make sense? And so they gave us their blessing to continue, but knowing that there may not be any other event for a while, and I will talk about this more at the end, so bear with me here. Knowing that there may be no other kind of public event for a long time, it kind of changed the math. It went from just something we're going to do out here for West Coast friends to something that's really important to invite as many of the people that we knew Adam was close to in real life to as well. Because, I mean, there was like 10 friends that could fit at the funeral, and a lot of people needed closure. A lot of people needed an opportunity to say goodbye or to have that celebration and gather with other friends of Adam that they knew, etc., etc. And it turns out that although Adam had hundreds and hundreds of friends, very few of them knew more than 1 or 2 of the other friends. And so I and a very few other people have spent the last month, literally the last month, contacting as many of them as we could, trying not to forget anyone, although doubtless mistakes and sloppy things will happen, but trying our best to reach out to Adam's friends, to put together a list of Adam's friends, to find out if they were able to come, if they wanted to speak, if they wanted to have a video for a video tribute. All these kinds of things before we could announce it to the public, before we could make any plans with the public, before we could say anything about it. But obviously, as this is happening on March 8th, and we just passed February 8th, so we're within a month of the celebration, it was just time to go, okay, we've contacted everyone we could possibly think of and get a hold of, and we've got to announce this thing to the public. Now, the Garden Amp does not sit 60,000 or 200,000 people in it. It has a very limited capacity. Around 1,000 people can fit inside. And so we put up the tickets online for free, minus the small section for Adam's family and friends. Those posts spread like wildfire very quickly. The tickets were obviously sold out very quickly, and that led a whole bunch of people to go, oh, what the heck, now I can't celebrate Adam, because people just seem to skip over mentally the live stream part of it. And that's the whole thing, is to gather Adam's mostly to try to gather his friends and his family somewhere where we could do this live stream so they can go out to everybody everywhere for free and be on demand. And of course, it'll be able to be replayed. That's been a number one question. I had two main questions yesterday. One was, is the live stream free? Yes, the event was free, the tickets were free, the live stream is free. And the second question was, will we be able to watch it back? Yes, it will be left up. Ideally, it will be somewhere very obvious to find. Probably it's going to end up happening on Adam's dad's channel. We won't know until we get closer and we start to deal with the audio visual and the logistics and getting into people's accounts and looking at everything. Probably be on Adam's dad Jim's YouTube channel, the live stream. I'm sure there will be other people in here holding their phones and doing live streams or Instagram lives as well. Although we're kind of discouraging that just because we want the friends and fans and lovers of Adam to just be gathered and be present if they're going to be here IRL. But I'm sure there will be more than one. Somebody did reach out to us who has a lot of experience doing multiple cameras and getting the audio feed and doing this really professionally, so it's not just phone on a tripod. And we're trying our very, very best to make sure that this goes down in a way that's meant to be shared with the whole internet, just the way that Adam, couldn't take more than one or two people with him on his daily adventures, right? But he could record them for posterity, upload them to YouTube and share them with the world. And in that same spirit, yes, not everybody is able to fit in here. If we could have had Angel Stadium or we could have had the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium or something, we would have. But as it is, this is the best that could be done. And I also want to say, I'm not in charge of this event. There's a big team of volunteers who has put all their time and a lot of their own money and a lot of sacrificing of their own work and jobs and things to stop and help put this together. And that work is still ongoing. There's a lot of video editing that needs to be done and just a lot of organizing and stuff like that. The Garden Amp is not taking any money for this. I mean, they'll have their concession stand open, so there'll be food and drinks inside. And hopefully we'll get a food truck that can have some piping hot caffeinated beverages out here or something like that. But nobody's getting paid for this. Nobody's making $1 off of this. And yet there will inevitably be people who criticize and complain. The number one criticism or complaint obviously is like, why isn't this happening in Florida? Or why this? Or why isn't there more than one announced? Or I'm going to be waiting for the next one, or this or that or the other thing. And that's why I'm here now, is I just wanted to explain, because again, I feel like most people don't mean any harm. They loved Adam. They feel all this grief. They want to be part of something. And they're just not thinking of the other side of the coin. Nowhere else, nobody else stepped up. We looked into every possibility that we could possibly afford, that we as a group could possibly contact. We've done everything that we could, and this is basically the best option, the best thing we could do with the blessing of his family, where it was practical to gather some of his friends together that are going to be able to speak here. Some of his more notable friends from YouTube and other places, some of his old friends as well. I long ago handed over the responsibility of what's going to happen on that stage and who's going to speak to other people. So I'm not in charge of any of that kind of stuff. I was just trying to be as helpful as I could while I was crossing the country and all during that ice storm. I spent 4 or 5 days doing nothing but calling people all day long who knew Adam and trying to help put together the guest list behind the scenes. But the main thing I wanted to share, two things. There's two things that I thought it was important to share or to talk about today. Number one, the live stream thing. That the internet is where the Daily Woo lived. It's where Adam met almost all of these wonderful people, or where they met him and made him part of their lives. And so that's the main focus of where this is going to go, will be that live stream or live streams. And they will be able to be replayed. They are, of course, absolutely 100% free and available to everyone for all time. So that's the number one thing. And the number two thing, I just wanted to say, when people keep criticizing or throwing out, well, why didn't this and why didn't that and why didn't the other? Two things about that. One, you have to think about the real life people behind the scenes who lost a friend, coworker, I guess, a friend, a best friend, a nephew, a brother, and a son. If it were possible, and God knows I would sacrifice my time to do it, if it were possible to take the show on the road and have an Adam the Woo celebration of life once a week for the next 6 months around the country, I love my friend enough that I would do it. But Adam is gone. We cannot help him anymore. You have to think about his family and his friends that are left behind. That's how we can help Adam. So not force them to relive it over and over and over again. And so in that spirit, I'd like to ask you, not for myself, but for them and for Adam, if you see people just being crappy about it, you know, maybe just remind them that these are real people here who owe nobody anything, and are having to go back through the stages of grief, spend their own money, volunteer their own time, and even his family flying out on their own dime to come out here to do something to give other friends and people out there, fans and well-wishers and people who loved Adam, a little bit of closure and an opportunity to gather together, whether in person or vicariously, as Adam would have said, online, to celebrate Adam's life in a positive spirit, in a circle of goodness or quest for positivity kind of way. And that's what's being done out here. Just remember, every single person is a volunteer. So much happened that I can never tell you about behind the scenes. So many places were reached out to, so many dead ends, so many avenues. And this is the way it had to be, just for timing wise, for availability of everybody, for the availability of his family, for the availability of a venue. But I have more to say what happens in the future. This is the gathering that we were able to do, the gathering we were able to pull off, the gathering we were able to put together with the very great assistance of the Garden Amp, Chris Provost, Fake Tyler, Micah, Adam's friend Micah, and several other people who have been doing a lot of work and are continuing to do a lot of work to make it happen. But nobody is stopping anybody or any of you from putting together whatever other kind of tribute you would like to for our friend Adam. If you live somewhere on Route 66 and you'd like to have a small gathering in that area and bring people together to participate either in the live stream or a different event at a different time, you are absolutely more than welcome to. In fact, one of the things Adam's mom said to me pretty early on in the process is that she wanted to give her blessing to any of Adam's friends who wanted to have their own things or their own celebrations and were able to do it themselves. They're absolutely more than welcome to. And so if you want to, and not only this, but we encourage you that, you know, if you can put together some kind of gathering in your local area where people can get together and watch the live stream and participate that way, we would absolutely love that. But if there's something later on down the road, like maybe you are part of a convention where you can do a panel about Adam the Woo or some kind of tribute, or in your town, you know, there's several fans or friends of Adam's that want to get together, that is absolutely amazing too. Nobody's trying to gatekeep the legacy of our friend or anything like that. We're just a bunch of people donating their time, donating their money in some cases, to doing the best that we can and the best that we could. So the tickets for the inside, for the main event, are all gone. It's very small, but there's a couple of things, and this is subject to change, but we're gonna do our best to empty out the venue as soon as the main presentation that will all be on the live stream is over. Many of us will be coming outside to say hello to whoever couldn't be inside. Obviously, there might be some no-shows inside, so there will be sort of a standby line if people would like to try to get into the venue itself. That's going to be very, very, very limited. But we will have, like I said, some movie cars out here. It's a big public park where the public is free to come anytime they wish. So if you want to sit out here, you will be able to hear the sound. We may even be able to get screens outside as well. And so there's still a point to coming down and gathering, but the main thing will, of course, be that live stream, which will be available to everyone for free forever. Once again, we're now at the point where to make this happen at all, the venue is locked in, they've donated their time, they've donated the date, they've expended money on and staff time on this thing. Plane tickets and travel arrangements had to be made for some of Adam's friends who are speaking, including his family, who are traveling out here on their own dime, by their own choice. It got to the point where to make this happen at all, we had to lock it in. And so this is what it is. It is what it is. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's awesome. I think we've done the best that we could, considering that everybody who's been involved in this donated their space and time and staff and put their own money into doing something that does not pay off for them. It's completely for other people, and to be able to do the live stream to reach, you know, Adam's fans and friends out there all over the world I think it's an amazing and beautiful thing, and 30% of the world is going to complain no matter what you decide to do. And so I'm not so much coming to you today to address complaints, so much as just to explain, here's how this went down, here's why it's going down this way. And trust me, if we could have got a bunch of baseball stadiums, like I keep saying, or whatever, we would have done it. If we thought it was physically or emotionally possible to have 14 ceremonies in a row so that we could fit 1,000 people at a time and have Adam's dad and the other speakers just repeat what they were going to say over and over, we would. But once again, you got to have some grace, some mercy, just a little understanding for what his family's going through and for what all those close friends who are coming and participating and speaking and gathering together are going through. And nothing stops us from doing something again in the future, which I'm more than happy to help spread the word on or whatever. And it's still entirely possible that with some distance, some time, and a chance for those that were closest to Adam in real life to heal and get some distance and perspective from this thing, that there could be another event down the road celebrating Adam's life, possibly even in Florida, which is part of why I'm explaining all this today, is because, you know, maybe people want to start putting their heads together and get something like that going on, you know, Adam's birthday is August 10th, or maybe on the year anniversary, or maybe next year, or whenever. There's no time limit to this thing. People are not going to forget our friend Adam. Not anytime soon, that's for sure. But I just want to say a huge thank you to all of the people who are involved in the physical presentation that's going to happen, the physical gathering, especially to the Garden Amp for donating their time, their services, their staff. There's not a lot of for-profit punk rock venues especially who would do such a thing. That really shows, I think, that these people have amazing big hearts. And on that note, the biggest shout out of all and the biggest thank you of all, I want to send to Adam's family for just being absolutely incredible, open-hearted, and really caring. Even though they're the ones suffering the most, they're the ones going through the most profound grief that we can only be bystanders to. Losing your child at whatever age, it's one of the worst things that can happen in the world, and yet they have been so open as they can be. They don't owe anybody anything. Outside of their family, they don't owe us anything. They don't owe us any participation in anything. And they have been so open-hearted. His dad has been making these videos, sharing his grief with people. His family giving their blessing to do this event, coming to this event, participating with us because they do care about Adam's friends, about Adam's fans. Even if you never knew him, they care and they're grateful that you loved their son, their brother. And that is such a beautiful, they have been the most beautiful, wonderful example of exactly how you should be. And you can only imagine the kinds of criticism or stupid things they've had to read on the internet or speculation and all this dumb stuff. And yet they have remained open-hearted, participating, calling Adam's friends, comforting people. When they didn't have to do any of that, they could have sat with their own grief and it would have been perfectly understandable. So I just want to say thank you to the Williams family and the Oaks family and all the extended families of Adams. Adam always tried to protect his family from the internet for good reason, because once you open that door of sharing your life with hundreds of thousands of people then feel like they have an entitlement or a right to say whatever they want or criticize however they want or have an input on how you live your life, and now, by extension, on what happens after somebody's life. And especially if you've never really lived a life where you've come in contact with that before, it is extremely overwhelming, frustrating, difficult, and yet they've never lost their grace, their mercy for other people, their consideration for Adam's fans and his friends out there, and their love for other people. And I just really think it's just important to mention that. And so, those of Adam's friends that we were able to reach in time, who are on a guest list, will come here early. Then anyone with a ticket will come an hour before the doors open at noon. If you don't have a ticket, you're still more than welcome to come to the public park. Come see the DeLorean, gather outside. There may be a minimal, talking a tiny amount of people who don't show up. So there may be a few seats available inside. The Garden Amp has been awesome, so they're gonna try to do their best to accommodate everyone they can, even if that means putting screens outside, if we can work out all the technological part of that. But the main thing for everyone out there, even if you live nowhere near Southern California or Orange County, is that live stream. We'll be live streaming the whole thing. I think we now have the right people, the right volunteers who are going to try and do a multi-camera thing. We'll get that live streamed. in at least one place, if not more places. And like I said, no one's stopping anybody from coming out here and live streaming it from their phone as well. And really, we knew from the beginning, not everyone's going to fit into any venue that we're going to be able to get a hold of. And so that live stream is the main event. We're having the gathering in real life and trying to get as many of Adam's friends together and do these tributes and things so that we can have that live stream that goes out everywhere for free to everyone. And we're hoping that you will join us. Shall you? Again, I'm not in charge, nor do I want to be the spokesperson or anything, but I hope that this cleared up a little bit of confusion. I hope that you can kind of understand a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes and that so many people have donated their time and their efforts to this. It's a labor of love from his friends, all of which are grieving, all of which are still going through their own thing. In some ways, it's the last thing you want to do, but I think it's important to at least have a date and a time where if you're able to, we can all tune in together and just be thinking about Adam at the same time and really honestly just to celebrate his life. So that's all I really have to say for now. I'll post updates as I get them. I'm sure Chris, Provost Park Pass, will be posting updates. Adam's family's posting updates periodically. And you know, once some healing and some time and some distance has happened, if anything else happens or there's any other kind of celebration down the road or a woo fest or whatever, I will be the first person to jump on board and help support that too. So never say never. I can't predict the future or what may come down the road, but this is what's happening now in the foreseeable future. We're gonna be celebrating Adam's life here at the Garden Amp and through the live stream all over the world with anybody who would like to join us because we loved our friend. Because we loved our friend. We want to pay tribute to him, we want to celebrate him, and do what he always believed in, which is passing on something good, putting something positive out into the world and seeing what happens. Continuing what he called the circle of goodness. All right, that's all I have. I'm sitting here trying to remember if there's anything else for the moment. If I think of something else, I'll post it on Facebook or Instagram, on both of which my handle is just Justin Scarred. 2 R's, not scared, scarred. And as soon as I know where for sure the live stream will be, I will let you all know. Until then, we've done our duty. It's time to go home and sleep well. And for those of you who are not here for Adam's Memorial information and you were here for a normal Random Land episode, don't worry, we'll continue that soon. And I also have some personal announcements and updates to make in a different video, in a different topic. Okay? I love you all. I love Adam the most. I hope to see many of you here in person and even more of you online. Until then, see you later.